Friends, today I am going to discuss about the JWT and Spring Boot security integration. What is JWT? It's JSON Web Token. Before JSON Web Token, we are internally using uh, cryptography. Okay, it's more about that authorization, not authentication. Okay, and how JWT works and how to integrate with the Spring Boot, I am going to discuss here. JWT is a value token. Send some value to the server to the client. Client can send back to the subsequent request and confirmation. It's not confidential information passing. First, let me show you how what is to give the flavor of the JWT. So here I see that authenticate, okay, and after click here you see that token has been generated. So nothing, it's just to authenticate and you will get the token. So one of the function of the JWT is generating token, and here is the username and the password, and with that token now I am allowing only the authenticate. If you see here, I have allowed only this URL, that authenticate URL, to be allowed to hit that service. So if I hit other than authenticate, say all user, okay, if I just click all users and if I hit it, you will see that status as a 403 or forbidden error. So how to solve it? First, with the authenticate, we get the token with the token value, and we have to use that it's a bearer token, okay, bearer with the space and with that token value. So that means it's authenticated because in the previous request it's getting the token, and using that token it's authenticated. So with the bearer, if I send it, so then the service will know that it's already authenticated, so it is going to give the result. Okay, now let me discuss about the part. What is the part of the token? So header part, payload part, and the signature part. So here in the token itself you see that is the header part and the payload part, and is the signature part. Okay, header, payload, signature. It's, if you go to the jwt.io, you will see that what is the header part and the payload part. You will know that first of all, it's not password JWT token, it's just a secret value. Okay, yeah, it's not like confidential information like password in the token. Now create JWT for further authorization. It is for the further interaction after authentication, to remember who are you are in the subsequent interactions, like from the web itself, right? When you are interacting, first you have to log in and then anybody can access that. For example, here from the web itself, if anybody give that URL, so it's not authenticate. First you have to authenticate that one, only that randomly give the user, so it will prevent the hacker to a hacker will not allow to get access. So how it will work? So first you are giving the user ID, password, and now it's the authenticate. Now how it is going to authenticate? So with the database or the properties or the hard-coded value, you are checking username, password, and the password is encoded. It can be encoded, it can be not encoded. So password encoding we can do this way, like there is a like functions, bean function. If we use this one, password encoder, it will be encoded. Like we have to if we give that user ID, password, it will be encoded here, and then it will when it will compare with the database, right? When you are giving it's this value, so with the database it will suppose here I have given the Java in use and the password as a password. When it will compare with the database, it will not check with that simple password, it will after encoding. Okay, so then only it will going to authenticate. So this is the in two way we can do that. One is that encoded, I mean after encoding it will compare with the database, and without encoding, then we will going to use this one, no password encoder. Okay, so this is the way. And now after authentication, JWT is going to generate token and giving that token. And now after getting the token, client is going to save in the local storage or the cookies. Okay, and after that, in the subsequent request, say here I am going to access any other URL, right? So this is the other than, but it will not allow. But how it will allow? I have to give the authorization. Okay, authorization bearer space and with that previous token. Okay, so I am going to use that token. And if you give that authorization in the header with the bearer, then it's a validate signature, then you will get the result here. Okay, here you will get the result. So where it is in the controller, JWT controller, let me show it. So this is the JWT authentication controller. When you give the user ID password, it will authenticate. And how it is going to authenticate here, I have already given in the user ID, I mean in the properties I have maintained instead of database, username, password. And what it will going to do during authentications, it will coming to the service. And if it is a Java in use and the password, it will check username one, it's encrypted, so it will compare with that encrypted. It will first, it will form the users, this users is Spring provided, and it's forming that object. And the second one is that if you are using the simple one, if you are no encoder, then you can use that dur you can get it. Okay, and next thing is that how we can generate that bcrypt uh, that password generator. Say if you write something, some text, it will get going to generate it here. Okay, and here this is the like, if you give that password, okay, you will, it will generate the uh, encrypted one. Okay, so that thing, so after generating, so this password after generating $2, what I have put here, I put here. Okay, this is the database, so it will compare it with. And for 2 it's so this is the way we can generate it. And it's instead of putting directly the password, it's encoded value you can put it. Okay, and it's also putting some date, time in the part of the signature. And what you need to do in the pom.xml, you have to put the io.json web token. So this dependency you need to add. And first it will coming to the endpoint, that is authenticate. And after authentication, it's forming the user details, and it will get generating token. So ultimate goal is to generate token here. Okay, now going into the details here. So is the simple password, as I have already mentioned, that for simple password, if you don't compare in the database or the properties, simple password you can put it, compare it in the database. So in that case, no password encoder. If you need that after encoding encoded value in the database on the properties file, you can put like this, you can use the password encoder in the configuration. Okay, and otherwise what happened, like you will get the 403 forbidden error. Okay, and so this is that is for simple password. For simple password I will show it. So it's just I have to change to use the simple password. What I need to do, I just need to use this one, no password encoder. That time that password encoder is not there, so java in use will not be working. So in that case only Raddur will be working where the simple password is there. Okay, so this is the I mean simple and the encrypted. And here the same thing I have mentioned here. So raddu to if it's a simple password, so if you marked it, then you can use it directly. And what refactoring 1 and 2, I put everything in the properties file and the @value, and here in the if condition I can use that. Okay, and next, so without invoking authentication, all users, as I have mentioned, like first I get the token. With the token I put in the authorization. So as JWT is a part of the authorization, I have to put that token value here with the bearer. Then it will authenticate you. It's authorized you that this you are the correct users. Okay, you have that access to that. So bearer plus token. uh, Now, so what I have mentioned here, first you are getting token. With that token added the bearer, you will get the value. Okay, and the bearer I put it in the configurations. Okay, how I get it? So we in the filter itself I put it like using that token with that bearer token and bearer plus token, then you are allowed it and you will get that username from there, and you are allowed to access that username. Now the next question is that why use the bearer? So if you go to the link Stack Overflow, you will find that it's a configuration and setup starts with bearer. Other than bearer, if you give anything, it will not work. Okay, so this is overall. Now what are the classes we have to use? First we have to use the configuration. Okay, so this what is present in this configuration. So it's a configure, authentication manager, configuration global, and filter, user detail service. Okay, what is user detail service? This is the JWT user detail service. It is overriding. Okay, so when you're authenticate, it's invoking it here. And this the main thing is that configuration part, and you have to write enable security at that configuration. And the filter, filter is playing important part, and there is request filter. And here that other than authenticate, if it is using, and all that useful functionality, okay, it has been there. I will promote the code into GitHub, you can check that. And when the request coming, that JWT request, okay, and JWT response, username, password, if you see that in the JWT request itself I have given that username and password. So here, so you have to give the username and password. And here in the controller itself, you see that I have given the JWT request, so you have to use that. And this users, I'm just is model user, not JSON users. And what I was trying to access it, that use simple user controller, uh, only after authorization it will allow it. Okay, so this way we can integrate Spring Security with JWT token, okay, for the authorization. In next tutorial I will show how to integrate with the Angular 7 and this JWT authorization with the Spring Boot. Thank you very much. Hope you have enjoyed it. Keep subscribing my channel.